Today onwards, we will be talking about the group testing technique, which is the third technique employed to assess the personality of a candidate. So I'll just give you a brief overview of how we started. As we know, SSB is a test of my personality. And why it is a test of my personality? Because we are selecting you to perform the role of a military leader in future. And the role of a military leader is a unique role. That kind of role is not performed by anyone in the corporate sector or in the civil sector. To perform that role and to shoulder the responsibilities of a military leader, we will be imparting you specialized training. And we would like to see whether this training will be able to transform you or mold you into that desired output, that commissioned officer whom we want in the active service life. Or will this training not be able to mold you and transform you? That is why we are focusing entirely on your personality rather than on your knowledge or skills. So SSB is not a knowledge-based selection. It is not a skill-based selection. It is purely a personality-based selection. We would like to see whether you are the right input material, whom if I induct into the training curriculum, right? If I induct you into the training curriculum, whether this training will be able to transform you into the desired output. And that desired output is that commissioned officer. And this commissioned officer has to perform certain role and has to shoulder certain responsibilities, right? Responsibilities. In order to perform this role and to shoulder these responsibilities, this commissioned officer has to have certain qualities in him. And where these qualities have come from? When we analyze the role and responsibilities of the commissioned officer, which he has to perform in the active service life, we came to this conclusion: if this role has to be performed effectively and efficiently, this gentleman needs to have these qualities. And these qualities were called officer-like qualities. And these are 15 in number. Right? So we listed these qualities. अगर military leader का role effectively and efficiently इस gentleman को perform करना है, जो कि एक commission officer है, तो उसके अंदर ये 15 qualities होनी अनिवार्य है. And these qualities have to be present in him in certain degree. That is called minimum acceptable level of that quality. For example, if I talk about a quality called intelligence, everybody is intelligent. Some are poorly intelligent, some are fairly intelligent, some are satisfactory intelligent, some are very intelligent, some are exemplary intelligent, some are outstandingly intelligent, some are highly intelligent. The degree of this intelligence is varying between different individuals. In this band or in this domain, what is the minimum acceptable level? That was called adequate level, right? The DIPR has given us a dictate. If you feel that this candidate is having adequate intelligence, which is sufficient for him to perform the role of a commissioned leader, accept him and recommend him. So this is the rationale behind the entire design of the selection process. We are basically seeing what exactly is the level of trainability of this candidate. If I induct this candidate into the training curriculum, will my training be able to lift him up from his present level to the desired level? That is why when you come to the SSB, we first check your personality with one perspective. What is the level of OLQs present in him? Is the level of these OLQs adequate, or there is a slight limitation, or there is a severe limitation as far as this particular officer-like quality is concerned? And thereafter, we see if from this present level of the OLQ which you have right now, will my training be able to lift you up to the adequate level, which is the desired level? Or will it not be possible for us to lift you up from the present level to the desired level? If it is not possible for us to lift you up to the desired level, definitely you are not a recommendable candidate for us, because training is not going to benefit you. And on what basis we decide the trainability of a candidate? There are 6 factors which I discussed other day with you, if you remember. The first factor that is considered to ascertain your trainability is the age of the candidate. The younger the age, the more the trainability. It means if you are going for NDA or DES, your age bracket is about 18 years of age. Now you have 4 years of training lying ahead, and in 4 years we can definitely transform you from whatever you are today into that commissioned officer whom we want in the active service life. So age is a very important criteria to decide the trainability of a candidate. The second factor that is very important is the duration of training. The The longer the duration of training, more the trainability. Because 4 साल में तो आप किसका कैसे क्या बना देंगे. But if the duration of the training is less, then the trainability gets affected adversely. The third is your motivation level. The more you are motivated, the more you are passionate about joining armed forces, the better will be your trainability, because now you are living your dream. You would not like to go back from training academy back to your home. You will give your mighty best to learn things, pick up things fast, because this is what your dream was, and today you are living your dream. The next factor that decides your trainability is your intelligence level. More the intelligence level, the better the trainability, because now you can pick up things fast. Your uptake is good. You will learn things fast. That is also going to improve your trainability criteria. The next thing which is very important is the insight which you have about yourself. Do you know what you are capable of? Do you know what are your strengths and weaknesses are? If I know myself well, it will be easy for me to align my efforts in the right direction, because I know if this fellow can learn something in 4 hours, it will take 8 hours for me to learn it. At least this realization has to be there. Then only I will be prepared to put in 8 hours of effort. If I do not know what I am capable of and how much efforts I need to put in, I will definitely be always confused, right? So the more the clarity, the more the insight I have about my own capabilities, the better will be my trainability. And the last factor that decides your trainability is your socio-economic background. Which background are you coming from? If I'm coming from a humble background, where there was shortage of resources, there was no guidance available, parents are illiterate, right? Still on my own, I struggled hard, and today I'm sitting here in SSB. Definitely, I know the importance of struggling hard. Nothing was given to me on a platter. So if this candidate is recommended, definitely he is going to leave no stone unturned in the training academy to benefit from the training, because his socio-economic background is humble. He would like to make his parents proud. So he is definitely going to put in more efforts. So these are the 6 factors that decide your trainability criteria. And DIPR, that is Defense Institute of Psychological Research, has given us a diktat. Whether you are following psychological technique, whether you are following group testing technique, or whether you are following interviewing technique, right? At the end of your assessment, the inference which you draw about this personality has to be in terms of these OLQs, right? These are the 15 OLQs, and where do you place them or place him on a scale of 1 to 9? And these were called tick 1 to tick 9, where tick 1 is the highest tick and tick 9 is the lowest tick. And in this band of 1 to 9, they said if you feel that the candidate is having adequate level of this particular OLQ present in him, award him tick 6. If you feel that there is slight limitation, award him tick 7. If you feel that there is a severe limitation which is difficult for training to iron out, then award him tick 8. And if you feel the person is gone case, a psychopath, psychological disorders are there, or strong negativities are there in him, then award him tick 9. And this tick 9 was called angularity. Generally, we do not award tick 9 to any candidate unless otherwise we are doubly, triply sure about it. Most of the candidates generally hover around 6, 7, 8. Either you are adequate, or you are having slight limitation, or you are having severe limitation. So every assessor, after doing the assessment, will award you ticks, and he will make this matrix. In this OLQ he is tick 6, in this OLQ he is tick 5, in this OLQ he is tick 7, in this OLQ he is tick 8, right? And this tick pattern he will bring into the conference. And during the conference, when the discussion happens between the 3 assessors about the candidate, this discussion revolves around OLQ. We do not discuss factuals there. Factuals are for the consumption of that individual assessor. Whatever you did in the GT ground, it is for the consumption of GTO. But when he comes to the conference, what he will be discussing with other assessors is the inference which he has drawn about you in terms of your OLQ. Because this language of OLQ is understood by all the assessors. It is a common language. And when we discuss this candidate, so first we read the tick. As far as this particular OLQ is concerned, for that matter, effective intelligence is concerned, I find that Parinika Garg is having adequate intelligence. Adequate effective intelligence, that is tick 6. And the description of this adequate intelligence is Parinika Garg is a candidate with moderate intelligence and commonplace ideas. So this is how I will describe the OLQ, effective intelligence, as far as Parinika Garg is concerned. And this description is called shades. So we will first award you tick and define your shade. And in the conference, when the discussion happens, the discussion revolves around the shades of the OAQs. We will not be talking about the factuals. Factuals are for the consumption of that individual assessor. Right? Now coming back, when I said SSB is a test of your personality, right? And with one perspective, we are checking your personality, whether your personality is trainable or not trainable. So when I say it is a test of your personality, personality is something which gets manifested in three forms. And what is a personality? Personality is something which is showing up in your characteristic behavior, right? Whether it is your thought process, whether it is your words which you are speaking, or whether it is your actions. That is a revelation of your personality. And how you have shaped up your personality? Your personality has shaped up through the inputs which you have given to your system. Every human being has 5 sensory organs: ears to listen, eyes to see, nose to smell, mouth to taste, and skin to feel. Through these 5 sensory organs, we keep absorbing impressions from our environment. And all these impressions get into our system and get stored in our subconscious. And it is this subconscious which decides my behavior, whether it is coming out in my thought process, whether it is the words which I am speaking, whether it is my actions. The locus of control of my behavior is governed by my subconscious, the kind of inputs which I have given to my system. If I have given good inputs to my system, definitely my thought process will also improve. That is why we say, if you want to improve your personality, stay in the company of nice people. Your thought process will improve. If you are staying in the company of goons, naturally your thought process will also become like that. Because environment affects a lot, of our personality. So that is why in the SSB, we adopt a 3-pronged approach to check your personality. When we say SSB is a test of your personality, we will be adopting 3-pronged approach. One will be checked by the psychologist, who will show you different pictures, right? And these pictures are nothing but a stimulus. The moment he shows you a picture, some thought process gets generated in your mind, which you associate with the picture and frame a story. That is how he is checking your thought process. Thought process is what? Thought process is governed by your subconscious, and subconscious is actually the locus of control of your personality. Whereas the interviewing officer adopts a different method. He will chit-chat with you for 1 hour or so and take an objective look into your past life history. Just by asking you questions about your life history, he will be able to predict your future training potential. How you've been living your life till now. Have you been utilizing the resources which have been given to you by your parents adequately well? Or you are wasteful in mobilization of the resources? The decisions which you have taken in your life, were they deliberate decisions? Or they were random decisions? Or not so careful decisions? The kind of challenges which you faced, was your approach logical to deal with them? Or you are some person who started sulking? What exactly is the way you have led your life till now will give me a fair idea as to how you are going to perform in future. And that is how I decide on trainability and in turn recommendation or non-recommendation. Whereas GTO does what? GTO is the one who is checking your karma. So he will make you part of a group and give your group different tasks to do. And this group is going to be a leaderless group. He is not going to assign any specific role to any individual. He says all of you are at par with each other. Everyone has the same say. Everyone has the equal opportunity. And this is the task. This is the task. In this scenario, what role you choose for yourself, how you participate, how you contribute, what kind of attitude you demonstrate, what kind of consistency you demonstrate, what kind of leadership skills you demonstrate, that is a clear reflection of your personality as far as I am concerned. Right? So basically the bottom line is, if you put together the whole thing, what exactly the SSB is looking for. If tomorrow I make this individual the part of the organization, will he be an asset there, or will he become a liability, a burden, or a baggage for me? Right? So the first and the foremost thing which you need to grill into your head is, if I have to be part of this organization, first of all, I need to be a group-minded individual. I should not be a loner. I should not be an aloofish individual who's mean, selfish, self-centric. No. You have to be a selfless individual who participates in any group endeavor without any ulterior motive. That is the kind of person you need to be. The first and the foremost thing is, you have to be a group-minded individual, a team man, who doesn't care for his personal gains, who is ready to sacrifice his personal gains in the broader interest of your team. भाई आप सब लोग जानते हैं फौजी एक ऐसा प्रोफेशन है जो जीता है, फौजी जो जीता है वो किसके लिए जीता है? अपने लिए नहीं जीता, वो नाम नमक निशान के लिए जीता है। वी ऑल नो दिस, राइट? सो वो चीज अगर आप में नहीं है, आप अपने ही बारे में सोचे जा रहे हो, तो यू आर अ यूजलेस इंडिविजुअल फॉर मी। आपको कितने फट्टे लगाने आते हो, कितनी आप अच्छी कहानियां लिखते हो, कितने ही आप फंडेदार आंसर देते हो एसएसबी में, दैट कैरीज नो मीनिंग बिकॉज एज एन ह्यूमन बीइंग यू आर नॉट अ गुड इंडिविजुअल। तो पहली चीज तो क्या मैं किसी भी टीम का भाग बनाने लायक हूं? आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन टू योरसेल्फ। एंड टू बी एक्सेप्टेड एज अ मेंबर ऑफ एनी टीम, फर्स्ट थिंग यू नीड टू हैव इज good attitude, group minded attitude, good social adjustment, good sense of cooperation, good empathy towards others. You should be concerned about the emotions and feelings of other people. You should not be only bothered about your own gains or your own emotions. No, others are also human beings. Accept them the way they are. You should be a very humble, down to earth individual who can take everyone along, and at the same time you also understand your responsibilities as a member of this team, and you are fully prepared to take these responsibilities boldly and deal with them and help the group to progress. You should be an effective contributor in the group. You should be one person who's leading the group from the front, not the person who's just rolling with the current or flowing with the current or moving with the current. No, that is not the kind of people we are looking for. Rest everything comes later. फट्टा बल्ली रस्सी जीडी में क्या किया, जीपी में उसने कैसे सॉल्यूशन दिया था, वो बात की बात है। पहले तो यार बंदा कैसा है मुझे ये बताइए। अगर बंदे की सोच ही बड़ी तटस्थ है, नेगेटिव है, तो फिर ये कितने ही फट्टे लगा ले, I'm definitely not going to recommend it because I know categorically that this fellow is going to be a liability for me tomorrow. He is going to spoil the entire environment of the unit where he's posted because there is a problem in his attitude. So first of all, you need to ensure that attitudinally you have to be a group-minded individual, not a mean, selfish, self-centric kind of individual. First thing. The second thing which is very important for you to consider is, am I consistent with my performance? Consistency is the key to be accepted in any team, any group. Right? If you're not consistent, you're not a trustworthy individual. I never know when I need you the most, you will not be there. When I don't need you, you're always there because you are inconsistent. So inconsistent people are not acceptable in any team or any group because they are not trustworthy. They are not reliable people. So first of all, you need to be a selfless individual with a group-minded attitude. And second is, you have to be consistent with your performance. The third thing which is very important is, you need to have faith in your own abilities. Right? If you do not have faith in your own abilities, how do you expect others to have faith in you? How do you expect others to accept you as their leader? You do not have faith in your own abilities. You are jittery, you are underconfident, and you expect others to rely upon you and accept you as their leader. Definitely that will never happen. So your self-belief has to be good. And at the same time, you should know your potential. Right? What exactly I am capable of. What exactly our weaknesses are. What exactly our strengths are. And when you know your weaknesses and strengths, thereafter, you need to play on your strengths and manage your weakness so that it doesn't affect your social relations or your work efficiency. Bottom line is this कि मैं व्यक्ति कैसा हूँ, इंसान कैसा हूँ, क्या मैं किसी टीम का भाग बनाने लायक हूँ? अगर मैं किसी टीम का भाग बनूंगा तो क्या उस टीम को मेरे होने से फायदा पहुंचेगा? क्या वो टीम अपने लक्ष्यों की प्राप्ति कर पाएगी? और उन लक्ष्यों की प्राप्ति को करने के लिए जो ग्रुप काम करेगा उसमें मेरा योगदान क्या होगा, मेरी भागीदारी क्या होगी? क्या मैं सबको साथ लेके चलूंगा? क्या मैं सेल्फलेसली काम करूंगा या मैं सिर्फ अपने नंबर कमाता रहूंगा? I am not a person who believes in I, me, myself. I am a person who believes in we together can achieve a lot. So first and foremost is you need to have an attitude where you believe that together we stand stronger, individually I am nothing. And this belief in you has to be so strong where you are ready to sacrifice your personal interest in the broader interest of your team. मेरी टीम जीतनी चाहिए, चाहे मुझे कुछ मिले चाहे ना मिले. अगर ये चीज आपके अंदर नहीं है तो बाकी everything is null and void. The irony is, कष्ट is the majority of the candidates who go to the SSB focus only on the I, me, myself wala attitude will not get you the recommendation. You have to have that attitude where you are asset for the team. Right? This is something which you need to keep in mind. Now, as far as the group testing technique is concerned, this technique is called demonstrative technique rather than projective technique. Other two techniques are also scientific techniques, that is psychology and interview. But these are called, projective techniques. Candidate खुद दिखाता है कि उसके अंदर ONQ का लेवल क्या है. अब वो खड़ा है साहब स्ट्रक्चर के सामने. अब बताइए साहब इसके करेज का लेवल क्या है. डरपोक लग रहा है कि नहीं लग रहा? साफ दिख रहा है. That is what is the beauty of this technique is. And moreover, why I am saying if this technique is based on, this technique is, projective technique, which is more scientific and structured in nature. There is a reason behind it, because this technique is based on certain psycho-sociological principles, and these principles are the ones which give strength to this technique to stand as a valid instrument of personality assessment. When I am saying that my technique is a valid instrument of personality assessment, I have a reason to say so, because I know this technique is based on certain psycho-sociological principles which are proven principles in psychology, right? And they are the backbones of this technique. That is why I am saying that this technique is more scientific in nature, more structured in nature. What these principles are, I will be elaborately discussing it with you as the class progresses. But just for the sake of understanding the basic rationale behind group testing technique, let me tell you a few things. Right? So what happens in the group testing technique, the GTO will make you part of a group, and the size of the group will always be between 6 to 10 candidates. It cannot be less than 6 or it cannot be more than 10. There is a reason behind it. What exactly is the reason? When you are functioning as a member of the group, there are two kinds of stresses which are operating upon you. One is called internal stress, endogenous stress, right? You have performance anxiety, you want to do well, you want to excel, you want to get recommended, and that is what is causing a lot of goosebumps within you. And second stress is coming from external environment. Your group members are not letting you do what you want to do, so you have to handle them also, and still make your presence felt. So there are two kinds of stresses which are operating on you. One is called internal stress, one is the stress that is coming from your environment. And how you manage these stresses and still remain effective, that is what the GTO is going to see. But if the size of the group is less than 6, the dynamics within the group, what we call as group dynamics, will not be vibrant. It will not be causing any kind of external stress on you. Because if the group size is 5, one as it is you are there. 4 people are very easy to manage. So there won't be any conflicts of ideas. There won't be any, vibrant dynamics within the group. There won't be any pressure of social pushes and pulls on you. So you will be able to coordinate things. So that is why, in order to make the group dynamics a little more vibrant, I will keep the size of the group at least 6 or more than that. But if it becomes more than 10, then it will not be humanly possible for the GTO to keep an eye on all the 10 candidates simultaneously. No human being can observe more than 10 candidates simultaneously without missing out any of the behavioral manifestations shown by them. Because it's a human limitation. अब आप मुझे मेले में भेज दो कि पूरी भीड़ का बिहेवियर बताइए सर, I won't be able to observe them because I have my limitation as a human being. That is why the size of the group will never be more than 10 and it will never be less than 6. Preferably, as far as possible, we will make the size of the group as 8 candidates in SSB. Because when the size of the group is 8, the trade-off is balanced. It means the GTO is also able to observe all the candidates simultaneously, and at the same time, the dynamics within the group is also vibrant. So as far as possible, we will be making the group size as 8 candidates, but under exceptional circumstances, when the number reported is odd, we may make a couple of groups of 9 or 10 candidates, but generally, as a matter of rule, we will try and make the group size as 8 candidates. So you will be made part of the group. And what is the group? Group is nothing but a collection of individuals where everyone has the same goals and objectives. अगर हम 8 का ग्रुप है, 8 के 8 का एक ही लक्ष्य है. And at the same time, there is huge interdependence. Individually, I cannot accomplish the task unless otherwise others give me a helping hand or cooperate well with me. That is the characteristics of a group. It is a collection of individuals where everyone has the same goals and objectives and there is huge interdependence. So GTO will make you part of the group and this group is going to be a leaderless group. The GTO is not going to assign any specific role to any individual. He says all of you are at par with each other. Everyone has the same say and same opportunity. In this scenario, how do you function? That is what is going to be seen by the GTO. The role which you choose for yourself, the initiatives which you take, the responsibilities which you take, the level of participation you demonstrate, the contributions which you make in making the group progress, that is what is going to be seen critically by the GTO. And based on this behavioral manifestations, he will be able to interpret your personality in terms of those 15 values and will be able to award you ticks as per the demonstrated performance. And that is why I said this technique is called demonstrative technique. समझ आ रही बात सर? Okay. Under normal circumstances, the group testing is performed or conducted over a period of 2 days, and these are called GT Day 1. That is called group testing Day 1 activities. Right? On the day 1 of the group testing, the testing will start at 7:30 in the morning and will be over by 11:30 hours. Right? And on the GT Day 2, that is group testing Day 2, the testing will start at 7:30 in the morning and will be over by 10:30 hours. And during this period of 2 days, the GTO will administer you a total of 9 tasks. And these are called battery of group tasks. And in this battery of group tasks, some tasks are indoor tasks and the remaining are outdoor tasks. The first 2 tasks are indoor tasks. They are conducted inside a discussion room. And these tasks are, first is group discussion, followed by group planning exercise. These 2 tasks are indoor tasks, right? They will be conducted inside a discussion room. After that, the first outdoor task that will be administered to you is called progressive group task, followed by group obstacle race. After the group obstacle race, the next task that will be administered to you is called half group task, followed by lecturing. And with this, the day 1 activities are over. Now the time is 11:30, your lecture is over. GT will say thank you very much. Now you all can go back to your candidate mess, relax there, go out in the evening if you get a book out, and tomorrow morning we will assemble back here at 7:30 for conducting the remaining tasks or administering you the remaining tasks. On the day 2, the first task in the morning that will be administered to you is called command task, followed by individual obstacles, and the last task that will be administered to you is called final group task. So this is the battery of group tasks that will be administered to you over a period of 2 days, that is GT Day 1 and GT Day 2. Is this okay? Now why I am saying it is under the normal circumstances. What is the exceptional circumstance? We need to understand. Exceptional circumstance is if the number of candidates screened in after the stage 1 screening is 72 or more. In that case, the DIPR has given us a leeway. In this case, you can resort to single day testing. It means, in that case, the testing will start at 7:30 in the morning and will continue till 2:30 in the afternoon. And in this period of 7:30 to 2:30, we will be administering you all the tasks except GOR. In this case, when it is a single day testing, we do away with GOR. GOR will not be conducted. Why? This you will be able to appreciate as the time progresses. Why GOR is not conducted when it is a single day testing. However, the remaining tasks will be conducted as per the same sequence, right? Now, why is it so? If the number of candidates is 72 or more, why is it so that we are resorting to single day testing? Let's understand that briefly before we proceed further. Every selection board has a limited infrastructure. Generally, as per the approval of the Ministry of Defence, every selection board is established for 6 GTOs, 6 interviewing officers, including President and Deputy President, and 8 psychologists. Why 8 psychologists? Because you have those 2 civilian psychologists also present there. So total 8 psychologists, 6 GTOs and 6 interviewing officers. And every selection board will have 4 sheds. These are called shed A, shed B, shed C and shed D. But the testing will be here. Shed A will have 1 complete PGT, that is progressive group task, 1 half group task, 1 final group task, 10 command tasks, 1 discussion room where your GD and GP will happen, 1 individual obstacle course. Right? This is the infrastructure which is available in shed A. This is shed A. This area is shed A where this infrastructure is available. Same infrastructure is available in shed B and shed C and shed D. Okay, sir? Now, on a particular day, if it is a 2-day testing, Monday has gone in your screening process, your document check, your PIQ fill in. Day 2, you had the site test. Now day 3 is Wednesday. So you have 4 testing days available with you. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Saturday. And imagine you have made a group of 8 candidates each. So Wednesday, Thursday, on shed A, you will be testing 8 candidates. Okay, of course, over these 4 sheds, you have a common 1 GOR course, that is called group obstacle course. Right? चारों के ऊपर एक कॉमन GOR कोर्स है. तो वेडनेसडे एंड थर्सडे में पहले शेड में एक जीटीओ साहब ने 8 कैंडिडेट टेस्ट किए. इसमें 8 कैंडिडेट हुए, इसमें भी 8 हुए, इसमें भी 8 हुए. यानी कि पहले 2 दिन में आप 32 कैंडिडेट असेस कर पाए. उसके बाद अगले 2 दिन, दैट इज फ्राइडे एंड सैटरडे, आपने अगेन इसमें भी 8 असेस किए, इसमें भी 8 असेस किए, इसमें भी 8 असेस किए, इसमें भी 8 किए. तो 32. यानी कि इन दिस वीक दिस बोर्ड कैन ओनली assess 64 candidates. Or if you make the group of 10 candidates each, then maximum this board can assess 80 candidates in 1 week. That is the limitation, that is the bottleneck because of availability of infrastructure. So DIPR has given a midway to us. Neither 10, 80 nor 64. Let's take a middle figure, 72. If the number of candidates waited is 72 or more, then resort to single day testing. And if you are resorting to single day testing, in that case, we will not be doing GOR. We will do away with GOR. अब ये सिनेरियो में क्या होगा? Wednesday को 32 कैंडिडेट्स टेस्ट हो जाएंगे, Thursday को 32 कैंडिडेट्स टेस्ट हो जाएंगे, Friday को 32 कैंडिडेट्स टेस्ट हो जाएंगे और Saturday को 32 कैंडिडेट्स टेस्ट हो जाएंगे. Now the same board with the same infrastructure with the same available manpower can assess 128 candidates in this particular week. And then the conference will be held in the evening on Saturday after 2:30 and will continue till 10 in the evening. That is why this single day testing policy. If the number of candidates retained after screening is more than 72, in that case we will be resorting to single day testing because now our testing capacity has gone many-fold higher. We using the same infrastructure, using the same manpower. Now, just I will be giving you a brief overview of all the tasks, and then I will be discussing with you the theories which I was talking about. With the backbone of this technique, what are those theories and how they are relevant to these tasks which I am giving you. And then I will be discussing about what exactly the broader picture that GPO is looking for. Let's not go into the nitty-gritty of how to write a good GP solution, how to make a cantilever, how to use the rope and tie the knots, and how to do lecturate and how to write a good GP solution. That comes much later. First is you need to understand the broader picture. Am I fitting into this broader framework through which the GTOs are seeing my personality? If I'm not fitting well here, I may do exceptionally well in my task. That doesn't carry any meaning because this is a skill which you have learned from somewhere, which you are demonstrating me here. Right? ये जो आपने फट्टे लगा रहे हो, आप कैंटिलीवर बना रहे हो या जीपी सॉल्यूशन अच्छा लग रहा है, ये तो स्किल है आपका सर. ये तो आपने सीख लिया कहीं से जो दिखा रहे हो मुझे. पहली चीज है इंसान कैसे हो दोस्त. क्या आप किसी टीम का भाग बनाने लायक हो, या you will become a liability or a baggage or a burden for that team of which you become a part of later in your life, right? So let's take a cursory view of all the tasks which I have mentioned to you. The first 2 tasks are indoor tasks, followed by, that is called, first outdoor task is your progressive group task, followed by your group obstacle race, followed by your what you call as half group task, then comes your lecturate, followed by your command task, individual obstacles, and final group task. Now there are many people whom you will come across. They'll say, sir, individual obstacle is conducted or administered to us before the command task. Did it happen in your case? Individual obstacle was done before the command task, whereas in many boards, command task is done before the individual obstacles. See, why this is better than the previous one? Why command task should be conducted before the individual obstacles? If individual obstacles ke dauran one candidate gets severely injured, he will not be able to perform in the command task. And command task is one of the most important tasks in the entire battery of group tasks, right? Because during the command task, there are two things what GTO is doing. First is, he is confirming the query areas which are there in his mind. Query areas means, when he saw you performing in the PGT, the hard group task, or in the earlier task, there was some doubts in his mind. Because he saw some traces in your behavior which raised a doubt in his mind. But there was no opportunity available with him to interfere and intervene and confirm his doubt. Because the dynamics within the group was so vibrant, he never wanted to disrupt this process. So he kept this doubt with him and waited for the command task. And in the command task, he will confirm these query areas. For example, while you are performing in the earlier task, where you are working with a group together, I found some traces in your behavior which gave me an inkling that this candidate has a tendency to blame others for his own failures. But I could not confirm this doubt because there was no opportunity available for me to interfere and intervene and disrupt this dynamics. So I waited for the command task. And in the command task, as we all know, you will be made as a commander and you will have the choice of helpers from the remaining group members. So while this candidate was doing the task along with his two helpers, the GTO immediately interferes and asks him, or intervenes and asks him, Commander, what is the reason why you are not able to progress? Is this because you are not getting any ideas, or it is because your helpers are not giving you proper help? So it is my helpers who are not giving me proper help. The moment he says this, it means my doubt is confirmed. This candidate has a clear-cut tendency of blaming others for his own failures. This is what I mean when I say confirming the query areas in the command task. The second purpose of the command task is ascertaining the absolute level of the candidate. If I am recommending this candidate, then how many marks I am going to give him? Because by now we all know SSB is of 900 marks. Total marks of SSB are 900, out of which GTO gives you marks out of 225, psychologist gives you marks out of 225, interviewing officer also gives you marks out of 225. And based on the sum total of marks that you get in three techniques, you are given marks out of the remaining 225. And these are called board conference marks. And these board conference marks are given to you in accordance with the conference table which has been given to us by DIPR. So if the sum total is this, these are the conference marks. If sum total is this, these are the conference marks. And out of 225, if any assessor gives you 90 or more, 90 is what? It is 40% of 225. If any assessor gives you 90 or more, it means he is recommending you. From him, you are recommended. From his side, you are clear. So in the command task, I will be ascertaining your absolute level. It means how many marks do I give you? If I am clearing you, if I am recommending you, should I give you 90 or 100 or 110 or 120? That I will be ascertaining in the command task. Or if I am failing you, then how many marks I am giving you? Am I giving you 80, 75, 65, 66? What exactly is the level where I am going to place you finally before I take you to the conference? And this is what I am doing in command task. And that is why I am saying command task is one of the most important tasks in the entire battery of group tasks. And if command task is conducted after the individual obstacles and a candidate gets injured, he is not able to participate or perform in the command task, right? I will not be able to complete his assessment. That is why it is more advisable that you finish off with your command task and then do individual obstacle. In case during this individual obstacle, if a candidate gets injured, still his candidature will not be cancelled because he has gone through the entire battery of group tasks. While he was doing individual obstacles, he got injured. So it means his tick, which I am going to award him in his physical stamina, may vary a little bit. But then his absolute level has already been ascertained. So his confidence will definitely be held, right? Okay? That is the rationale behind conducting command tasks before individual obstacles.